So for the columnation, if you're going to do something like this, you need to have regular columnation, Jude. So this one, notice this is like one set, but this one is different width than this. So this could be look the same XX, but this looks like X2 or 2X. But let's just say Y na lang. So much better if regular ang columnation sa basement parking. And then notice wala siya columnation here. The missing, nawa ang columnation here. This one like this. I don't know why this column is there. Then this column here. Then this one, this dimension is sort of the same. Let's call it Z. This column kind of looks the same, but this one is of a different width. So na-A na siya. And then this one has another width over here. So the Z. So this basement parking, although it may work with the flow of the vehicles, doesn't work structurally. Sorry, na 9:30 na. This is just something I want to point out to you guys. So a good basement layout, we just close that. G. So a good basement layout needs to have regular column widths. Let's say something like that. You need to have your 25-meter run somewhere over here. And then maybe they can turn 90 degrees somewhere. Although I really advise that mas maayo siguro ang not the column, the ramp would be somewhere here. So you can make the turn here, which is what we're doing in the AutoCAD version over here. So mugawas ana niya, ako lang i-sketch here, another color. Oops. So ang gawas ani niya, you have your columns here. So just imagine that that's like the same dimensions. Okay. So these all need to be the same dimensions. So I'll just call them
Sir,
X.
can I
Yes.
ask a question? Di
Yes,
ba,
go ahead.
like the third floor is above kay naaman siya setback sa kuan building,
Mm-hmm.
like the upper floors. How will that affect the columns, sir?
What do you mean setback? Mo offset siya?
Offset, sir. Kato
Yeah,
ganin.
kay mo setback man siya diri. Dapat i-calculate po ni mo sud sa mo column. So if you imagine this is your basement layout, something like this. So when I one set of cars mo niyang road, two-way, then magawa siya dito. And then that's like another set of parking, something like that. Just making it really fast. And then if you have your upper floors, reduce ang opacity. So if you have your upper floors, your ground floor, let's say, takes up about, let's color it green. Ingnala ko kung daghan na kay layers, ha? So your upper floor probably takes up something like this. That green doesn't really stand out as much. Something like that. And then your upper floor setback. So dapat mo follow po timong column. So you need to think about your column layouts. I'll color this a different color. Na maigo tanan imong floors, like from basement to top. As much as possible, regular put ang column spacing. So really, this is why I'm telling everyone, I'm sure your comments Canvas is saying start with the column layout and then you can go to your like floor plan. Okay, you have 3 floors, no, no, 6 floors, but the 3 most important floors are your ground floor, sorry, not your basement, your ground floor, and then your typical floors. So let me close that. Make it just draw it in 3D. So your basement layout is probably going to use the whole of your lot like that. And then your upper floor, your ground floor, ground or second, probably use partial lang because you need to set back to allow that ramp. Like that. Wait. Maybe I'll just do it this way. Wala makita ng setback. Something like that. Ground and second tend to be the same based on your schematics. Or not. I didn't expect I needed to do a lecture today. And then your upper floors, your typical floors, will be like that. Plus another 4 or something like that.
Di ba 3 meters each side, sir? Ang kuan, ang setback sa upper floors.
3 meters each side ang setbacks upper floors. Why
Like,
ganit?
kato ganing kuan sir sa NBC
I
from
think I think it's a lot smaller than that's mo to.
I think it's 1.2. It's each side.
1.2 lang. 1.2, yeah. 3 is too big.
Kita lang na mo, sir, para straight ang upper floors.
Gi 3 ninyo. Kaya na ay setback 3.
Like, each floor is getting kuan man, sir.
Di kay, muna tong total. Wait, how did you calculate that? Wait, let me open up my Tasmania Boulevard, site plan. Crap, where did I save that file? Desktop, documents. Anyway, let me just draw that. Let's open up. Here. This is for figure ruler setback side, rear and side. Okay, so how much is the incremental setback? Can I zoom in? The 9th floor. This is that. No, this is the other figure. Not this one. This one. It's 0.03. I have to point 0.3. Sorry, it's 0.3, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0.3 times 4. 0.3 x 4. 1.2 ra imong total setback. Nya dapat isulod gyapon na nimo simuhang column layout. So nakadiha. So a little bit more setback on the sides and the rear. We can use 100% of the front. So it'll be smaller like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then nakay 1.2 setback here. So muna siya, i-adjust yun nimo imong column. So bare minimum, nakay 1.2 setback here, but you don't have to have your columns on the edges, although it will help. So how will the structural layout look like for this? Let's say this is, sorry, I'm going to use Tubin's building as an example. So So pila ni siya total? Over here. LI. So this is 3.5 by 4.72. So if you're gonna like construct on the columns will be on the edges. I need to show edges somewhere here. Something like that. 44.5 by 35.6, and then mo offset kag 1.2 sa edge mo property. Sakto ba di akong measurements Tubin, but let's just say mo ni siya. I'm just gonna draw that. Na siya, and then you offset 1.2 for your upper floors. Ano siya? Maybe you want more regular na column spacing. So let's say I have 1, 2, 3. I'll just copy this. Do 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 do. So muna na game, muna ning design. You're now designing. Okay. It's fitting like that. Okay, it's fitting like that. You'll need to have, kung ano mo set up and you want to use that 1.2, you can do something like, what do you call this? Cantilever na beam. So, for example, you have a column that goes all the way from the basement to the upper floor, something like that. And then this stops here, so second floor lang. And then you'll need like cantilever slabs on this end. So your upper floors will probably look like this, like cantilever diha. So that's one option. That's the easiest option. Your slab will be like that. Slab will be like that. But you need some kind of like a reinforcement on this end. That's very easily done, like engineering wise. And maybe that 1.2 will be like your balcony, and then your main floor will be inside. So that's why I really advise everyone to start with their columnations. For the most part, if you didn't see me comment on your interior spaces, like your retail should be here, your room should be there, that should be fine. So let's say something like that. For cutting 1.2 na gap is like manageable again. And then let's see, let's say this is floor 3, 4, and 5, and then 6 is over here. And then sa ground floor, pid-pid na kasi mong building footprint. Like that. But I think more likely than not, if you're going to have a regular column spacing, erase. Sort of like what Tubin is doing over here. Ang column, ang slab will have to cantilever a lot more. So like mga 8.9, that's really too big. So you'll probably need to adjust the column layout here. So instead of like measuring from the ground floor, you could start measuring from your upper floor. So let's say your upper floor will follow just the 1.2 all around, 1.2 over there, 1.2 over here, over here. And then I'm going to use the basement ramp sort of as my main base, like a benchmark for putting out the columns. So I'm going to say, I'm going to put the ramp somewhere here. This would be a lot faster if it's like sketching for AutoCAD is like legible and everyone can see what I'm doing. Okay, something like that. Sorry sa mga 1-hour lecture yun Muapas na ko sa uban. But this is for everyone yun na what do you call this? Basement parking. Okay. Kana siya. So naka-offset diri. So what if I make my columnation here? So already there's a problem. Kaya ang 1.2 mabangga sa ramp. Maybe I'll just move my ramp along that. And then we'll need to have columnation from the basement. Nasa ko sketch. From the basement to the ground floor, that makes sense na mo connect sa upper floors. So we could do something like, whoop. So how much is this total gap here? So 8.7, I think that would work. Well, we need to have like a middle column here. So let's say 5 now. Let's see how that looks like. I'll make a 5x5 grid based on the setbacks upper floor. V05. Not very good. May go ang vehicle ramp. 1.2. How much is this? 33.2. So maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say 33.2 divided by 5. 6.64. 33.2 divided by 6. No. 4 though. 8.3. I think 8.3 is a good setup. It's LV. O. 8.3. Igo ba? Yes, igo. Do. Okay. And let's say, how much is this? 45.5. Calculator. 44.5 divided by 8.3. 5.36, so quacky. Let's say 44.5 divided by 6. No, 44.5 divided by 5. 8.9, Duldura. 8.3 by 8.9, the grid. Let's see, XL, H. Let me move my dimension lines a bit. Just cleaning up. Actually, let me just move the whole thing. You could start this. You could be designing along right now. Try to figure out how your setup works. Okay. Or na lang sa mag-present ka, I'll make it up to you sa Wednesday. But I really need everyone to know, to make sure na ma-align good in yung columns from the basement all the way to the 6th floor. So something like that. And my calculation 8.9 LH 8.9 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, I go again. 8.9. Ah, crap! I didn't measure from the 1.2. So for this scenario, you're using the 1.2 setback. You might have different setbacks. You'll end up with like different dimensions. For the whole process is you're measuring from the basement all the way to the 6th floor. Okay, what happened, man, with your preliminary designs? People are just working on the ground floor. Only I think I saw about 2 people who started from the basement. But this should be the process. Okay, XL, H. So 42.07 divided by, how much was it earlier? 6? No. 42.07 divided by 5. Okay, 8414. H. 084. And that's not a very good dimension because as much as possible, we want to make it clean. Let's say if we just want to make it 8,400. 8,400. Oh, whoa. 8.4. 8.4. And there's a little bit missing, about 0.1. So maybe I can reduce the frontage by 0.1 or something like that. And then let's say a column that is 600 by 600 is actually very small, especially if your widths are like 8. So typical rule of thumb for column sizes, if your distance between column is 8 meters, so you need to have 0.8 column dimension, 0.8 by 0.8. So you divide it by 10, you multiply it by 10%, is that right? So 8 times 0.1, yeah, 10%. That's a quick rule of thumb. So our column dimensions are, see, the column grid is 8.4 by 8.3. Just make it broken lines so you can easily distinguish everything. Over here, over here. Switch that to broken lines. And then I'll change it to a gray so it doesn't stand out as much. Okay, and then I need to change the scale. Scale, line type scale. 0.5. 0.3. Okay. So this setup already looks good. And then let's see if the 0.8 column will work. 0.8. Maybe we can make it more slim, but let's just make a square column for now. 0.8. Oops. Should have just pressed the rectangle command. CL. Okay. And I'm going to put cross over here. Make it easier to find the command points. So I should have done this in Revit, but it's a lot easier, like for 2D anyway. For those who have AutoCAD, AutoCAD is really, but Revit should be, if you're comfortable with Revit, should be fine. It should have the same options as me. So Kanisha, let's just adjust as we go. Okay. Do. So I think everyone noticed as well that you all got 30 over 30 for those who submitted. For those who didn't submit, you get nothing. You didn't submit, you don't get anything. But this is really the purpose of the progress check, for me to see where you are in your design. And then that's why I'm not too concerned about like going one-on-one tonight this morning, because I already put comments in everyone's section. I'm really more focused on providing some guidance on how to design the parking, because like I think only 2 or 3 students got the parking right. So now we can fit there. Oh, it fits perfectly. Nice. So now we know that our columnation from what do you call this, basement to 6th floor works, and then maybe we can have a 2-grid setback for the upper floors, because you're not going to use the whole setup over here. We have a comment. Let's see, where is it? There. Where is the meeting? Okay, meeting over here. So you're going to have another progress for consultation. Yes, you can submit another progress for consultation. So let me just figure this out for you guys. So let's say Bilaran Road is to the bottom. I'll just label it so everyone is following. Bilaran Road. Okay. And then Mindanao Avenue is on the top. Mindanao. So I hope those who are supposed to be meeting with me today are like drawing instead. Someone at SIA. So maybe our upper floor, or like typical floor layout, because we want to maintain that sense of enclosure, I'll just change this into a different color. Will look something like this. Because some of you want to set back or just have like an L shape, maybe up to here or up to here, or maybe even halfway. So maybe you can set back 1 grid. This is a very rigid way of designing. You can have your own way, but this is just for the purpose of the class. Now, people will be guided. Okay, XL. Oops. B. Let's say something like that, upper floor. So what I'm currently designing like this. So this will look like, let me just turn this off. New sketch over here. So what I'm currently designing, the way my building is turning out, is that the basement floors are like this. Whoop.
Sir,
Yes, go ahead.
there are questions in the comments for
Okay. In
the
the okay,
meeting.
hang on. Thank you, Joseph. Okay. So I'm just gonna sketch out what my basement looks like, then what my upper floor looks like, ground floor looks like. Hopefully this will answer some of the questions. Okay, so this is up. What? Let me just finish my sketch real quick. So this is ground floor. This is B1, B2, and then second floor. Then the upper floor will be something like this. One, two, three. It's my 3F, 4F, 5F, 6F. Something like that. And then it's like setback like that. Oops. Okay, I'm going to address the questions now. Okay. Let's see. Sir, ang entrance sa basements are okay ra mula pa sa setback, sir. Entrance sa basement is treated as not part of the building footprint. So it's treated like an access road. So let me just make our building footprint here. No, lot plan. Our boundary will be something like this. The ground floor. Sorry. I'm sticking too close to the building. Something like that. So this is the lot plan in plan view. This is your, I'll just color the ground floor in red, so it's like easier to follow. But your ramp can go all the way out here. And notice how in, let's go to Ayala Terraces. It seems like we have to have our like one-on-one consultations at 10, maybe 10:15. So address these questions. Where's my little dude? Little dude, go over here. Notice how the ramp for FGU Center goes all the way to the sidewalk. So you can do that. So hopefully that answers that question. And then the other one, sorry, I've said a lot of I want to ask the setbacks of the building, since in the preliminary design video you mentioned setbacks would be 8 on both sides facing the road. What I've learned is a 5-meter frontage with 2 meters. Oh yeah. So 5-meter frontage works now because like let's see. I can't find my file with the notes on it. I'll just open up the building code. Desktop. USC reference books. Where is my building code? Here we go. 5, 6, 7. So this should be under section 7 or 8. I'm just like looking for that table. There should be a bookmark function in PDF, but I can't remember what it is. Okay, here we go. So in table 8.3 of the building code, this is page 133 of the PDF, if we're using the same PDF. We decided to like, what they call this, compromise because of the size of the lot and the measurements of Google Earth, that the Bilaran Road and Mindanao Avenue would be about 20 to 24 meters. So that's why we're using a setback of 5 meters in the front, 3 at the sides and rears. But as we mentioned last week, that over here, let's say Bilaran Road is here. I'll just call it B Road and M Road. So Mindanao Road and Bilaran Road, this avenue, should be treated as a frontage, as a front. Therefore, our setback, I'll just change another color. Over here should be 5. Over here should be 5. And on the sides will be about 2. Was it 2 or 3? 3, sorry. And on the side should be 3 meters. 3 and 3. I hope that answers that question. So 5 on like front and front, because we don't have a rear because it's a through lot. And then on the sides is 3. So, okay, I hope that's clear. So
Thank you, sir.
no problem. If there are any other questions, by the way, feel free to interrupt. I'm just like making our, what do you call this? Basement layout or column layout. Okay. Other teachers have different methods of like making the column layout. This is just the way I'm used to doing it. Okay. So what I'm doing, this is the plan. In red is the like building footprint. Okay. And then I think I need to draw the lot. So assuming this is my building footprint, I need to offset 3 over here. I mean, I'm using 100% of the lot. So 3, 3, and then 5 at the 2 frontages. Okay. I'm thinking I should have done this in Revit because like some of you are using Revit. I'm just like so used to AutoCAD. It's the first drafting program I used. And it's very convenient for 2D. Okay, let me make this a different color. What colors do you guys want? Let's see. Maybe just make it simple white. Let's make it a plain white. But I'll change the line type to the double space, double dash. Other, damn it, I have to load it. Okay, long dot, okay. I have to select it again. Okay. I think that's a little too big. Let's see, let's change line type to 0.5. Okay. So there's a lot of lines on the screen now. So does anyone like not understand what's going on the screen? Or claro ra? I need one person to confirm they're following the drawing. Okay, thank you. So with this setup, you can sort of find the ramp fits. We have a typical or like as much as possible like regular columnation, 8.3 by 8.4, like grid, with columns that are 0.8 by 0.8. So that's just a typical, like a very simple rule of thumb that your column dimensions should be 10% the column span or the what do you call this? The length between columns. So let's see if my parking will fit with the required or like minimum turning radius. So I'm gonna just copy this. This is how much is this turning radius again? Like 5 point something. 4.39. So this is the minimum turning radius for 180-degree turn. And why I'm using this is because I want to make sure that my vehicles are comfortably turning, like what do you call this? Can do 180 turns and then park into the slots in between. I need to label my columns. See. I'm gonna move my dimensions again. Move this again. MT. Hang on. Medyo na senior moment. I can't remember. Are we using A sa top side or sa sides? Can someone refresh my memory? Because I seem to be blanking out. Is it letters on the top side of the columnation or on the side of the columnation?
Top side, sir. Top
Okay,
sir.
thank you. Ni-blank out na akong brain for a second. A, B, C. Muscle memory good nagsulti na letter sa taas. Because I've been working on a urban design project, and because we're working on streets, I haven't drawn a column grid for a while. This will be a lot easier to explain. So I'm using the space between B and C as my parking slots, and D and E will be my what do you call this, for vehicle movement. So something like that will be good. But I'm already noticing what am I gonna do with section E? So there's not much I can do there. And then remember our parking slots are 5 by PL. Oops. 5 by 2.5. That's just like the Philippine standard. 5 CL. So that one slot. So the 180 turn might not be good. So you're playing around with the 180 turns and the 90-degree turns. So maybe something like this. This one here will definitely be can't be used, but will be used for the turning radius, something like that. So already it seems like not really a good setup. Maybe I can have a 90-degree turning radius. I don't want to delete this.
Sir, what about the ramp going basement 2?
Yes. So very easily, notice that my ramp here is on the left side. So I'll just make a new layer here. I'm going to use blue. I like using blue. So with my current setup, my ramp is over here. And notice I have gaps here and here. What I'm planning to do with this setup is I'll just take quick isometric. This is my basement 1. And then this is my basement 2. Exaggerated, but okay. Basement 2. So I'll make the ramp. I need to make my ground floor as well. Okay. Whoops. So ground floor over here. I'll make my ramp red. So the first ramp starts here, goes down there somewhat. And then I make my turn. Now you can just copy that same ramp to go down here. So it'll have the same location. So what I'm thinking I want to do with my design is just have the vehicles come out something like this. It's a little bit too big, and have the parking spaces in between like that. This is where my current design is heading. So with this setup, you can have, this will be going down. We can have the same ramp in the same location go down as well. So this will be going down the end, and this will be going up. So the vehicles will be coming down here. And then that's why I think we need really 2 ways, like a 2-lane path over here. Wow, it's looking really messy. I'll switch to AutoCAD so it's a lot cleaner. So vehicle scan over here. Vehicles can choose to park out here, then follow the next lane to go to the exterior. So maybe I'll need to use my 90-degree turns again. Where did I put my 90-degree turns? Oh no, I erased it. 90-degree turns about 3.5. So C. Na-answer atong question about the ramp. So I'm just using the same location for the ramp. 3.5. Okay. I think SketchUp will be a lot better for this too. I just need to determine my what they call this, my vehicle road, or like it's not technically not a road, but like the access, the way they move around the basement floor. Okay.
Sir,
Yes, go ahead.
I'm kind of having a hard time because my elevator is nasa center
Mm-hmm.
and wala po siya sa basement because it's made of sheer wall.
Okay. So we'll try to incorporate that into this design. I think everyone, this is why I'm suggesting everyone to have your ramp on the side. It really helps figure things out. So I'll do something like this. And then this is 3.75. 3.75. Oh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There we go. TR. Whoops. Okay. Oops. Okay, something like that. Oof. And already there's like a problem with the column here. Maybe we can like adjust this column later. Something like that. And then I'll just mirror this. Oops. That here. Like that. And then the middle will be let's see, something like this, and then go something there. Maybe we need a path somewhere here. This goes here, this goes here. We need the 180 jet. Do 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 do. Okay, something like that. Okay, so this will be the 180 path here. And then I maybe can use this as the exit over here. Oops. Fine. Okay. Turning radius here. We have another turning radius over here. Wow. Okay. 25. So we'll need to maintain this 25 to have this turning radius here. Like that. Will that fit? Okay. Okay. I'm not using the whole lot. So for the basement, I just realized I've been just like using the building footprint, but you can use the whole lot out here. The basement, you don't need to apply setback. So I tried to do it with the building footprint of like 8.3 by 8.4, but seems like the ramp really won't fit going down to the basement too. So I think I need to expand a bit on the, what they call this, the vertical axis, like from Mindanao Avenue to Bilaran Road. Maybe I need to expand it like this. I need this extra turning radius. Okay. And don't worry, Gene, I'll get to you in a bit. Okay. So if you're kanang in your design, your what do you call this? Elevator is in the center. So you might need to move it, Judd, if it's in conflict with your basement and upper floors. So that's why it's like a schematic. So you'll be expecting some revisions. I'll try making some notes on it on your actual page in a few minutes. Let's see. So this works now. I have to build all the way out here. So maybe I can go a little bit closer here. So in red is the ground floor building footprint. And then in green, this will be the basement sort of boundary. Then I don't need to extend all the way to the sides. I can just follow the ground floor footprint. And now my basement looks like this. Like that. And it's over here. Okay. So just to like sort of give you a 3D of what I'm seeing over here. So So currently my basement is bigger or longer than my ground floor. Then my ground floor is over here. Like a line there. Okay. And then the property line would be about, let's see. Something like that. Something like that. So in plan view, this is what it would look like. So this is the boundary line here. Maybe I can make it thicker so everyone can see. Bold. Yeah. 0.4 looks good. So that's the boundary line. I'm still setting back a bit. I think I'm still maintaining the 3-meter setback, but I'm like going over the 5-meter setback just to have that extra turning radius for my vehicles. Okay, so the way this is shaping up looks like this. So now I can comfortably turn this way. Let's say group over here. Maybe something like that. That should hit over there. This one is Oh, off. Do 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 do. I just realized the way I copied my parking slots are not straight. I think this is the most I can do with this setup for now. We can have a few more parking slots over here. Hope this is straight. Yeah, it's really not straight. Okay. Please be straight. Okay, it is straight. This is just one, excuse me, solution that you can sort of start with. Because a lot of you didn't even have parking good, so okay, and then that should be over here. And we use this extra space over here. And you can, and like that. And this could also be parking all the way up here. And this will be like a curb. So how will this look like in the going to your finals or going to your preliminary submissions? Let me just take a screenshot of this. Save as column layout. Put it over here. Let's turn this off. So the basement floor will look like this.
Sir, if we're going
Yes.
to follow your setup, sir, and layout, where can we put the elevator and stairs?
Yeah, I'm going to do that now. Okay. I know you guys have different building shapes. Hopefully what you will get from here is the process. So number one, really just determine your setbacks. I think all of you have that. And then I'm using the 1.2 meter setback for the upper floors as the guide for my column grid. Because we don't, for me anyway, I don't want any like, what do you call this, out of place columns or columns like in the middle of nowhere. And now I'm going to draw where to put your fire exits and miss one row of columns here. Fire exits and elevators. Okay. So hopefully that will go here. So these extra columns I'm doing that are like almost near the property line, they stop at the basement. So these floors don't go all the way, these columns don't go all the way up to the ground floor. They stop at the basement. So that will be the column layout like that. And then you need to draw, really important to draw your like curbs. CURBs, like that. And then this will be your parking slots, like this. So this one has a column in the middle of it. You might want to like make that an island instead. Okay. Oops. Zoom out a bit. Okay. And over here, this will be an island. It's a row of columns and a row of parking slots. And that will be an island. And okay, there's a thing there. So maybe I'll just make that whole thing an island. Okay. There's a column there, so that would be an island. There's a column there, that would be an island. I'll just make that island over there. This column there, that would be an island, like that. So that's an island, that's an island, an island. Let me turn this off. That's what it looks like. Don't forget to add your like turning radius here. Like an island here just to guide the vehicles. Okay, and then oops, another island over here. Where's my mouse? There it is. So maybe just make this whole thing island as well, something like that. Crap, is the column in the way of the, yeah, it's in the middle. So these are some conflict areas. This column here is a conflict. This column here is a conflict. But maybe we can like just make these columns on the exterior side thicker to compensate, or put our elevators somewhere there. So in this setup, based on Tubin's floor plan, we have like several options to locate our fire exits and what they call this, elevators. So let me just check. Okay. I'm going to draw the building footprint. Okay. Oops. So let's sort of try to get Tubin's ground floor plan here. Okay, so she has the, is Trisha still here?
Yes, sir.
Sorry. What's that, Nisha? I can't read it.
Asa na part, sir?
Kani,
Sa lobby niya siya, sir.
lobby or na siya. And then you
Lobby sa
have,
bank.
this is the bank area up here.
Office ko.
And this is retail.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that set up, I'll just put it on the different floor. Okay, how many layers do I have already? Okay. Let's reduce the opacity for this. So that's the boundary over there. I'll try to use like Tubin's floor plan as a guide. So maybe all the way up to the setback. Oh, I also need to draw the, hang on, let me draw the property line. Which layer is, okay. Property line. Do. You get the bigger. Oops, way too big. Doot. So that's the symbol for the property line, at least in the Philippines. It's the double dash. Okay. Okay. I'm going to turn that off. And then reduce the bandwidth for that. And then where is the ground floor? Oh, they have like multiple layers that don't have anything on them. Yes. Rename ground floor. Okay. So Tubin wants to have her retail somewhere on the Bilaran side, and I also agree with that decision. Photoshop is lagging. Bilaran Road. So just following this column layout I did, maybe I can have my bank somewhere here. We'll need to make some room for the vehicles, so maybe the bank will be somewhere here. Okay. So have the bank somewhere here, about three column grids. And then also the office will be on that side. Okay. That's 8 meters. This is about 8 meters. So maybe I'll just follow the column grids for now. Elevator. A good location would be somewhere here or somewhere here. We reduce the opacity of the basement layer. And I think what will determine this is how much square meters do we have for the bank. I think the bank will require more space. Whoops, I actually accidentally erased that. And then we're already setting back because of the ramp. So I probably don't want to put my, what do you call this? So I'm really leaning towards somewhere here because I want to have the bank, I want to have a larger space for the bank. I'll just put here, larger space. And then with this setup, I have retail here and then retail here. And then opening up to Mindanao Avenue to the north. And then something like this. And then I like the idea of having interior stairs for your bank. So maybe you could locate that staircase somewhere over here. So your bank can access to the second floor. And this will be where your, what do you call this? Elevators will be. So this is about 8.3, 8,300. You can fit like an elevator 2x2. So you can probably fit like 4 elevators here, but I'll probably want 2 elevators here. So I can have room for my fire exits. Okay, maybe something like that. Or 2, 4, 6. Maybe this will be my elevators over here with a utility shaft there, and then I will have my, remember our fire exits need to be opposite each other, at least 2. So we could have the fire exit somewhere over here and somewhere over here. The problem with this is like you need to go through the hallway, so I might want to move the fire exit somewhere here. Okay. And can someone tell me the minimum width for the fire exit stair? Give you plus points for your preliminary submission.
1.2, sir.
1.2? Who said that?
Tubin, sir.
Tubin? Okay. I'll check it so far, but that sounds about right. About 1 meter, I think, will do. So this is about 8 meters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, about 2 meters. I think that's about the size. I just like roughly estimating it. Okay. So the fire exit for all your works need to exit to the exterior of the building. Or like something like that. Then maybe you can hide it with some shrubbery on the outside. Like some design on the doors. But they should be sort of like this. We don't need to worry about access to the fire exits from your ground floor because the fire exits are really for the upper floor. Okay, something like that. And the fire exits have to have thicker walls because they need to be fireproof or fire rated. I just say fire rated because they're not exactly fireproof. They're just like have a resistance, fire resistant walls. So 0.2 thickness is usually the way to go. Okay.
I have a question, sir.
Go ahead.
I'm not sure how much of a portion of the ground floor the basement takes. So the entry to the basement is gonna be a slope going inwards. I'm not sure how much of it I'm supposed to take up from the ground floor, or
Okay.
does it need to, or is there a way to avoid it? Or
Footprint. So the way you measure it, you can go to your Revit. I'm using AutoCAD today. So the way you calculate this distance, I'm like estimating it somewhere in the middle because when you do like an elevation or section, let's see. So I drew my 12% slope over here. Okay. And then I estimate about a run of 25 meters. So something like that. TR. Okay. And I'm like, okay, that's about that. So how you estimate that? Just do a quick zoom in here. So let's say this is your ground floor basement, basement 2. So G is over here. Oh, wait, G over there. Basement 1, basement 2. And I'll just put in a second floor line as well. So this is a section 2F. So the vehicle ramp kind of looks like that and like that. And the way you measure your setback is you need to sort of just like draw a car. Car is about 5 meters in length. And the clearance is about minimum, let's just say 2.1. Let's just say 2.5 to be safe. So the clearance must be like that. You just project 2.5. Let's just say 2.3 to be safe. And then your building, your ground floor should only kanang go up to that point. So like that. So I'm guessing it's somewhere around here, the 2.3 meter clearance. So maybe a darker green. 2.3 meter clearance. So the top of the car doesn't get snagged by your ground floor building. And then I think that also applies over here to the basement, basement 2, basement 2. I think 2.3 is good, but I think there are like other standards. Oops. Maybe I'll just draw the car in green. So that's how you like determine that setback. So you work in 3D and you can even draw it in section and then just measure how long that distance is. How long is that distance from the start of the ramp? And also don't forget to put in your transition slopes. Transition slopes, transition slopes, sorry, are about, I think 1.5 or was it 2? Transition slope. I think they have standards. Let's see here. Ramp with transition slope. Equal ramp. Over here. It says about, let's see, 10 feet. Some say 8 feet, so 8 to 10 feet. So feet to meter. Say, so 8, 2.4. Oh, it's actually big. 2.4 to 3 was off by 1 meter. So it's 2.4 to 3 meter transition slope. And that can be within the 25 meter run. Okay, so let's see, 2. That's about, right, let me just draw it in the basement floor. Okay, so something like that. So this needs to be about 2.4 to 3 meters. And also here. Mm-hmm. 2.4 to 3 meters. And then the ground floor looks like that. Let me just reduce the opacity of this one. So I think that's like a good setup. Oh man, it's already 11. For how you would do the like columnation from basement to upper floors. Actually, let me just finish up with the upper floors. I'm drawing on the basement layer. Also, your fire exits can function as shear walls, like load-bearing walls. So you might not need to put columns along that path anymore. Okay, this is somewhere here. Somewhere here. Actually, let me change the color of the column so they stand out. Switch to blue. Okay, column here. That column needs to be moved because it's blocking the turning radius. So I'm using the elevator shaft as a shear wall and also the fire exit as a shear wall. So they are now part of the structure. This is just one layout. This is a very simple layout. So let's go to the typical floors. I'll just skip to the typical floors. Reduce the opacity for this. Let me turn off the basement. So your typical floors will have, let's say, like half the building footprint. Not really footprint, but the building envelope. So we're going to maintain this column grid. I think there's a column there, but I forgot to draw it. Okay. So we need that exit. We need that exit there. I don't need these columns here.
Troy, can I ask a question, Troy? Is that
Ah,
okay?
yes, go ahead, sir.
Regarding this debate, we have this debate in our class regarding the roof deck of the bank. Can we have that can we convert that into a public space?
Roof deck of the bank. Yeah, it seems kanang questionable, sir, no? Kay bank, manggod.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So-
telling them. Then they keep insisting they want sayangan sa space. Ako sa sayangan, masad ko, pero I'm looking at
Yeah.
the sense of security.
Yeah, I think security will trump the need for space.
So what do you think about that?
For me, I think okay, we have the FGU Center as a guide, manggod. Let me go back here.
Well, again, that's why I'm telling them, show me a one. But we have a bank inside the mall. Naman si nag-occupy sa babaw, di ba?
Yeah, bitaw. I think it's really kanang how you justify, because maybe this bank over here, they already have enough space. They don't need to like use this area here. It just stood out to me because this is also another bank building, and you don't see that configuration. For public space, doesn't seem like a fit. It could be another office, or at least private space siya. By having like people there, I'm just very kanang paranoid, manggod, with security. I think if the student can really convince you that it's a good idea, na they want to put a public space there, aside from the reason na sayang ang space, there needs to be another reason, like nindot ang view or whatever, some other utility aside from recreation, I think. So for those in my class, if you have like another idea for having like another reason for having this as like a public space, better write it down or tell it to me now, because like for now, for me anyway, I'm not convinced that it's good enough to put a public space there.
Office space pwede siguro.
Office space, much better for me.
So,
If
dili
they're
sa ang solution sa ako ang class kay murag most of them are L-shaped buildings. So pwede they can occupy the space na lang, no?
Yeah, just occupy the space lang. Plus, it increases the rentable space. So for me, that would be better than just it's an open park, because feel lang ako.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, sir. Sorry, were you messaging kay nag-lecture gyud na lingaw gyud kog design diri?
No, you're giving them the solution here.
It's lang, sir. It's the process, and then I'm expecting them to make something different. So that's the trade-off. I'm showing them the process, but they need to give me something better.
Okay.
Okay. Malingaw mo go, sir, so I couldn't stop. So, asan ako? Oh yeah. So this is going to be my upper floors over here. And then I need this hallway here. So it looks very awkward, this kind of shape. This is going to be office space. And then there's going to be a setback like that. So my building looks something like this already. Okay. I need to make a data there. I'm just going to use blue. I'll zoom in a bit. No. Zoom out is fine. So my ground floor looks like this, with the setback for my parking. And I'm sure, what do you call this? There's something very wrong with my design. And if someone can point it out, I'll give you additional point, another +5 for your preliminary. Yeah. How much did I set back from here? Ooh, it's a lot. Okay. Can anyone point out my mistake in this design? One. That
Can we get a hint, sir?
it has something to do with the massing of my building and which road it's facing. My lines are getting more and more messy.
Sense of enclosure, sir.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my sense of closure is really bad with this setup. My lines are also getting progressively more worse as I go higher. Okay. So if you submit this for your preliminaries, I might ask you to revise. Because my sense of enclosure is broken because of my ramp setback. Oh no, not really my ramp setback, but my upper floor setup. My 3rd to 6th floor. 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh wait, I went up. Went up an extra floor. The X. Who was that? I think that was Tubin again. So Tubin +5. Yeah. So this is Bilaran Road over here. Biliran Road. And now if I stand here, look at my building. FGU center is here, FGU. Now there's a big gap. I set back too much between FGU and my building. My building is here in blue. Because of the vehicle wrap, I'll call it VR. Now I have totally destroyed the sense of enclosure along Biliran Street. Biliran Street. Road there. So how do I fix this? I need to rearrange the setup in a way where I don't set back so much from this area. Okay, B. But I kind of like drew myself into a corner because my fire exits. Let me make a new layer. The fire exit is over here. The fire exit is over here and over here on the opposite end. So the way to fix this would probably be, oh man, I can't have the fire exit along the vehicle ramp. So that's something to think about. Yeah, that's a big issue. But I'll stop there for now. Because Sergi pointed I was already giving the solution. Excuse me.
No, you can go.
Okay pa? Sige,
Yeah,
sige.
just solve everything na lang.
Okay. Binalingaw ko sir. Let's see. Saan man ha?
Kasi problema ni.
For me, I really like in my class to provide a sense of enclosure. It's just like urban design principle na the the plane of the street, like this kanisha sir. So this is Bilaran Road down here, kanisha, and then I'm challenging them to maintain this like vertical plane to provide what the urban designers call like a sense of enclosure. So basically, you just need to maintain this plane here to make it more visually appealing and like more memorable, more legible. So the goal is to maintain like this plane here. Pero nasangit ko kay akong ramp is over here, and I'm setting back from the ramp. So na like big empty space here sa from the perspective of the street. So the way would be, um, I should have flipped my perspective, like the layout of my floors para maintain ni siya diri. And then, to maintain that, I need to like rearrange na pod my fire exit na maigo siya somewhere here. So that's where my vehicle ramp is. Yeah, nasangit na ko. So think
Sir?
like, yes, go ahead.
If you remember from my schematics, for one of my schemes, I tried to orient the building away from the FGU Center building because I felt
Mhm.
like if it was too close, it might have been awkward just looking into the window of the other building.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to have some sort of open area in between, so it's a better view of the city, so that like the windows aren't so adjacent to each other. Is that an issue now because of the sense of enclosure, or does it depend on how far away the building is?
It depends on how far away the building is. So I have a file here. Where did I save it? Desktop. Can't remember where I saved it. Should be over here. Do 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 do. Oh gosh, I can't find it. So it'll be a lot easier to like do this in 3D, which is really why Revit is so powerful because you can like do your massing in Revit as well as your 2D. For me, I'm using two separate programs to do what Revit does because I'm not too comfortable with Revit yet. Come on. Oh, it's not responding. Oh, there it goes. Open recent. Open massing. Okay. So to like solve your issue, FGU. This is FGU Center, where you see my mouse is. Can you see it, Joseph?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you want to set back while also maintaining a sense of enclosure, let me see here. How much is your setback currently? You're thinking about?
I think from the building it would be 3 meters.
Okay, from the building 3. Let me double check.
I mean, from the adjacent building or from the property line 3.
Yeah. This is the edge of the FGU Center. They have like some kind of setback as well. So you see this gap here. So that's 3 over there. And then the way you check it is you go into the 3D view of your Revit. I'm using SketchUp here and see how does it look like from the sidewalk. So I'm on the sidewalk looking east towards Ayala. And then you see a 3-meter setback doesn't really impact the enclosure as much. So I'm looking at it here. So you see the vertical plane is still maintained. You see a small edge, but that should be fine. So let's take, this is like on Mindanao Avenue, by the way. So that should be fine. That shouldn't be an issue for your design. And let's take a look at what it looks like on Bilaran Road. So I'm going to stand on Bilaran Road, look up. So 3-meter setback doesn't impact your sense of enclosure as much. So let's see how far you can go without destroying it. So let's see that. So that's about 10 meters off. So let's see how much is that. So when you're like this far off, that's probably where I will like deduct points from your design. So 12 meters or like 10 meters might be too far now. So as long as you don't do this, it should be good. So I'm looking at it over here. You can clearly see if I add another color over here. Let's say, what's the color of FGU Center? Dark blue. Dark blue. Yeah. Oh. eyeball. So you can clearly see that big gap over there. Unfortunately,
So
yes, go ahead.
would I need to change the design, or is my reasoning for it like all right, or I'm not sure.
It should be good. If you're only using 3 meters, you should be good. But I
No,
advise you
I mean
to
from mine in specific, I think it's about 12.
about 12, really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
because there's a central hall in the building that goes from one frontage to the other end, and then from the third floor up, that
Mm-hmm.
entire side that's facing towards the building is not there.
Okay, so you
So
have 12 here. So let's
yeah,
see. I'll add another 8. Oh, -8. Another way. Something like that. Let's see. Scene
my idea
4.
is like a podium, and then the third to sixth floor is just off center. So that's
Mm-hmm. Like in a different site, the podium might work. At least for me, anyway. But let's see. The 12 isn't so bad. Try to check if your massing is okay. Try to do like a quick 3D model in Revit. You can do some quick massing, right, in Revit using I forgot what tool it was. Um, but Sariaga taught it to me. And just check if you think, so this one is a little bit distracting, but maybe it can still be done. Let me just walk around it. Okay. We move here a bit. So this one is a bit, nah. Maybe you can like sort of help your design by having your your ground floor and second floor really like aligned with the FGU center. Because this part here could work. And maybe we can do something about it over here, like later when you have like a more clear massing. Okay, because this for me is a little bit awkward still. How much do I have here? It should be 12. Yeah, it's 11. So maybe 1 more meter.
would the blocked view of the city be a problem, sir, or is that not that big of an issue?
What do you mean blocked view of the city?
I mean, the reason I have my building so far away from the FGU center is because I don't want it to be. So if there are workers, for example, because I want to have windows on that side of the building,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's going to
Looking towards
be,
FGU, yeah.
yeah. So that's my reasoning to spacing it out. Plus, you can see the buildings better. Like at least you can see all the different facades of the buildings as you're walking through. So I'm not
Like
sure.
from here.
So I
Yeah.
intentionally moved it away, but then I didn't realize it would be an issue for enclosure.
You can still pursue it. It's just really how you do the what they call this, the detailing of it, like how your eaves look. For now, I want to focus on the parking, making sure the parking fits, making sure your fire exits are there, and then we can like sort of fix this enclosure with like maybe louvers or some what do you call this? So what's going on top of here? Is it going to be like a public space or like a private space?
Not fully sure yet, sir.
Okay. So I think if you're going to have if you're just you want the Ayala to be seen from the other street, is that the goal? Or
Uh,
yeah, go
I,
ahead.
I I was just hoping for the buildings to be spaced out enough that you can see you can see their facades easily. Because if they're
Okay,
close
okay.
together, you have a blocked view all the time unless you're directly looking in that aisle between the buildings.
Okay, okay. I think that's a good enough reason. You want to have like you want your building to be seen from all different angles. We could also try checking the solar studies. Let me see. Camera, standard view, stop. So one thing here, I think a 3 meter setback on both ends will work. 12 is even better for like privacy. But sort of one reasoning I might sort of challenge your design with is that this is during November. we geolocated the SketchUp so it reflects Cebu City's like solar conditions. So this is November at past noon or like 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Let's look at it at around 9 a.m. So one thing I might challenge your design with is the what do you call this? The shadow diagram. So notice during the afternoon with a 12-meter setback from the FGU center, and in the Philippines, the afternoon is a lot hotter than the mornings. Your building is completely exposed to the afternoon sun. So you might need to have more louvers here. So it might not be, I would consider it not as efficient for, what they call this, thermal design, or like just like exposing your building to too much heat. One advantage of sticking closer to the FGU center, you can have some shading on your building on this side, like during the afternoons. But you need to give me another sort of reason aside from just that, another functional reason why you want your building to be viewed from all sides. You could cite like, I don't know, you need to tell me, you need to do some research and then tell me what other benefits can you get from having your setback all the way back there, like that. So that's how we'll be doing the preliminary grading. Like for every sort of, what they call this, decision you make, you need to have a reason. Like, why is your building all the way back here? Why do you have like an L shape over here? And then you can cite different reasons like the wind, the sun, the programming inside, security, accessibility, all that stuff. So it's not going to be 1:1 all the time, meaning one student can have the same reason but a different design output. It's all about how you like communicate your design to me. So I think this will work for enclosure. You can just have, what do you call this? You can do something to this part of the building to maintain that sort of alignment with FGU while also having your 12-meter setback. And you need to like provide a function. What is the space here for? Why, aside from having your building look nice from the exterior, you need to provide a functional reason why you also have this 12-meter setback here. Okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So that went a bit further than I thought. I wanted to do some presentations, but I got too into the design process. So we'll probably make a quick summary.